Good morning.
Good morning.
I can't see you because I didn't clean my eyeglasses. So I hope you're there. Thank you.
Oh, that helped.
No, I can't see you at all. Anybody has any questions? Anybody has?
A little bit of yogurt on your glasses.
Is it yogurt?
Food of some sort, maybe whipped cream.
Right, you snuck in the kitchen and ate the whipped cream.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Ah. Now I see you. I was watching my Facebook and going through it to see if I can improve it and replace it with better ones, better videos. And I came to the one that it was a long video, but there were two doctors that used to come to the ranch. And all they didn't like, I saw you in it, and I saw Wendy in there. That's the one. You remember that?
I don't remember it, but I know the doctors.
But I think that's the one which they stood up and said that even cancer has been cured, and they've seen it happen. I keep forgetting that. I keep on focusing on post-traumatic stress disorder. But it seems that many times when I'm not thinking about things at all, people come to me, and just in this area, there's just a few people here. There's two people that got cured from cancer. And I'm beginning to see how easy it is to cure cancer. And so, do you know people in your world that has that cancer?
Yes.
And let them come and see what we can do. Because it appears several times on those videos on Facebook. And I thought, well, maybe I'll go to jail practicing medicine without a license, but there won't be any medicine. And that will be how I get past it. I'm ready to help it, and I'm going to go on the radio and see how many hundreds of thousands of people that could be saved from this, because it's really, really simple. Would you like to know how simple it really is?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Do you know somebody that has it now?
Yes.
How many people in this room knows someone who has cancer? Your mother? Yes, but she's too difficult. I'm not sure that she is a fake, basically.
She wanted to come this morning.
Yeah.
She was going to come, but she's having a problem physically and can't leave.
What kinds of problems does she have?
Well,
She has stomach cancer.
Oh, what a poor thing.
but she did want to come this morning.
It's amazing she's lived as long as she has. And some people can live as long as that because they live on the lives of others. So she might not get cancer, but the people she sucks on will get it. Now, in that language I just used is the answer right there. It is the fact that animals eat animals, and that's normal. But human beings eat other human beings, but not with a mouth, by intimidating them to give up their energy and life force to them who are broken. That's all there is to it. Nearly all cancers have something to do with giving your life force or playing the role of an appeaser. An appeaser will give, thinking this giving and loving is kosher, if you know what I mean by that. It's not good. But the appeaser tends to give life force for love. Can you grasp that?
Yes.
See? So I'm just saying, opening the conversation here. Bring somebody here next week.
I tried, I invited 3 people.
But, you
And
know.
I invited 3 people, but nobody
they
came.
don't like waymasters. I suppose around here these days, it's even double, triple reasons why they don't want to come. I might shoot them. If they don't like me. So, how are you doing, my friend?
Pretty good.
And what does that mean? How far have you come?
Been able to get some detachment, and I feel like this is something I wanted to bring up to you. Is
How old are you?
51.
Well, you look like 101.
Yeah, I
I
bet.
know you need to. I look younger than you do.
Yeah,
I don't mean to be rude or anything
No.
like that, but you need to watch your food.
yes, working on
And
it.
it's not because you want to lose weight so much, but it's more important not to be killed by the things you eat. Because you might be eating very good food, but if you get too much pleasure from it, it is equivalent to a high. And every high is a new low. And then you hunger for more. It becomes very difficult to stop eating more than you should. And it's not so much that you eat some more than you should, because I think the body can contain that. But but it's not the same, because you're using food as a drug. Everything is a drug. Everything that I can see and understand and grasp is a drug. Show me something that isn't a drug if you use it to feel better than you are. To feel better is to get worse. It doesn't matter even if it's music. If you love music too much, it will take something away from you. If you have sex and you like it too much, it gives you a high. And every time you get a high, it becomes the next new low. Everything can be done appropriately, but you can only be appropriate and live to a longer life, because you do need a longer life as much as possible, because it takes a long time to build the spirit. Because there's 2 kinds of spirits. One is bright and beautiful, from the beginning to the end. It doesn't matter when you begin. If you begin now, from that day forward, you will become more beautiful, more gracious. You will see that you're eating too much. You see that you're irritable, and that goes away. And every situation that you find yourself in, where you normally would get irritated, for instance, you hit your hand with the finger on your hand instead of the nail. Instead of saying you stupid nail, you see, or stupid hammer, which is the kind of thing you do, and you don't think much of it. You think it's funny. It's not. See, it can be funny, but usually it isn't. And so what you are using, everything you do in your life has to be pure. There's something I want to say. I think Jesus said something like, I think it's correct, become perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Now, if you ask the average chaplain or preacher, he says that doesn't mean that. It does. It's called, if you take the word become, it is a doing thing. And into the future, becoming. And how are you doing? You're sitting up, that's unusual, you're sitting nice and straight. Are you feeling better?
Somewhat.
Yeah. Because,
It's
no, I'd just like to talk to him a little bit, unless you have something to say before him.
Just real quick, I've realized lately that I like live in a coma of thoughts, and the meditation is the only way that I can get above it.
Correct.
And it's like the only way I can live is I have to have God come into my body and live. If he wasn't there, I'd just collapse.
How does he come in?
Just,
Comes in through me to you.
yeah.
That's it. Yeah, because it would take you too long to understand how it came through me. But since I have it, I'm infectious,
Yes.
see,
Yes.
in a manner of speaking. And that is the example of knowing me and coming to the talks and being associated with me. What is in me, if you see it, it isn't that you love, because the minute you say, I love that, then you're a lover. Only God is a lover. So the experience you'll get is, hey, I'm getting better. Yeah, it's nice. And you kind of know where it's coming from, but it isn't me. You make it nice and simple. Otherwise you become addicted to me, and then I'm playing a different role in your head.
Yes.
I don't want that to happen. I want you to never come back, because you don't need me anymore. See, this organization doesn't hold on to you. Everything you hold on to will hold on to you. So does that make it nice and clear?
Yeah, it is very
So
clear.
it's just a process, and don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry. Just wait for little opportunities to be kind. And just wait for little opportunities, you know, when people are rude, just watch them being rude, like it's a movie.
Yes.
See, you can't argue with a movie. See, it's silly. So just let them be a movie, and get the idea that they can't help themselves and they don't see, but they feel energy coming from you, and it frightens them. The dark side is frightened of what you will become. So you don't have to do much. There is a time where you have to take a good whack. And Jesus threw the what do they call those people out of the
Pharisees?
the Pharisees out of the
Money changers.
money changing, yeah. And he was forceful. There's a time to be forced. You can yell and shout, you can't do this, you can't do that. And since he's not married, he didn't have a lot of that to say. he was mostly idolized, in a manner of speaking, glorified because the way he behaved himself. He could cure anything. And it seems that it's possible that I have a little piece of that, so that just being here has a value. And so getting back to the point of cancer, I'm going to talk about that on the radio a lot. Yeah,
I want to talk about cancer.
yeah.
I've been dealing with my mother-in-law who has cancer and trying to find a way to deal with the responsibility that I have toward her as my
How
mother-in-law.
old is she?
She's
88.
88,
Yeah.
but also not being sucked into this cancer world. And I
That's
thought
right.
part of that is just to point out the craziness when I see it. But I think there's something else going on here that I'm not seeing, something deeper.
Well, she's still strong.
She's
And-
getting stronger.
Yeah, but with that strength comes more cancer.
Yeah.
I feel as though when I walk in a room, I'm walking into a cancer film floating in the room.
Well, you see, when she lives off other people, she does live on other people by irritating them, and especially if you're an appeaser, you'll give your whole life to that person, and then so you hardly have any energy left, and
But what I thought was that if I just come up, do what little things I need to do, make sure she's got this and has her medicines or whatever she's
you
got.
have to disconnect.
But
with her.
there's something else going on there, because I noticed one day I was just going through the motions, remembering what to
Yeah.
bring and all that, and it seemed too mechanical. Like I wanted to get my thing done and leave. And there was another time she had a friend come up to stay with her one night, and that friend is very confusing and lives off the energy of everybody. And the two women in the room, when I brought them together, because I had to get the other woman up through the door, because it was locked, the energy in the room was so much craziness that I wanted to walk
How
out.
does the energy in the room feel?
What it felt like was that they were both, it's like two compatible souls meeting each other and just joyous in their craziness and confusion. And I felt I felt totally foreign in that environment, and I just wanted to walk out the door. Goodbye, here she is. But something else is going on there that I'm not seeing, and I know it's affecting
Well,
me.
it doesn't matter. You're not a scientist.
No,
in a
I don't
sense.
need to understand it.
Yeah, you
I
don't
just
need-
need to have it reversed.
No, you don't need it reversed. You should not react to it.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Somehow
not
there's a
worry,
connection.
not worry about your
Responsibilities.
your mother,
Yeah.
and not worry about them. Just watch it
Yeah.
and let them kill each other.
Yeah.
Because you've got two people in the house, all of a sudden you see you've got this feeling or sense something's wrong, and you have to figure it out. There's no need to figure it out. Just don't just let it be like a movie. Upstairs.
This is a very interesting experience because I haven't dealt with a lot of sick people in my life. I was with my mother-in-law when she was talking to the cancer specialist, the doctor, who was going to tell her, you have stage 4 cancer. And I was in this little examining room where he was, and he was kind of beating around the bush, and all of a sudden he starts talking about how bad it is and how much time she has left. And she's listening to him. I'm just sitting in the chair next to it, and all of a sudden, I'm sitting in that room, but I'm in a it's like the whole room was filled with this deadly poison in the air of cancer. And it was
I
like this
understand
room
that.
was cancer.
Yeah, you're too
And I was sitting
you're too
there,
sensitive.
and I could hear the words he was saying. I could hear the words he was saying,
Gee.
but they didn't mean anything to me. They didn't process in my brain. I just felt this cancer and wondered, is that in me or is that outside of me?
But that you're feeling, the feeling itself you just mentioned, is giving off your life to them, from downstairs to upstairs.
How so?
How
it
is that?
should be you throw them out. Simple, nicely. We don't need you here, thank you. And no excuse. Or
Because they're not in my house. They're not in my room.
oh, they're not in your house.
No, these are people at the doctor's office or where my mother-in-law is staying. I'm not there. They're not in my
but-
house.
But I thought you meant it was upstairs in the house.
No, no, no. This is in a doctor's office.
Oh.
And it was as though I was a child
And
looking
you
out
took
at-
her to the doctor's
Yes.
office.
Took her to the doctor's office, he's telling
And
me
you
how
could
bad-
feel it outside.
The doctor has a cancer personality. And he's talking to her, who has a cancer personality, and all of a sudden, I'm in this room, and I feel as though this room is filled with this, and I'm just conscious of the presence of it.
Yeah,
I can
but-
hear them
but-
talking, but the words don't process.
I get it.
Okay.
But the way you talk about it, you are food for them. I think you need to recognize it and let them go. And don't play up to them too much. Don't be too friendly.
Okay.
See? I would just suggest that you are sensitive, and I don't want to see you die.
Right.
Because you are very sensitive to that.
I think it's connected to my father, who died of cancer. And somehow in wanting to please-
Was he an appeaser?
He was a man who was afraid of his own anger, and he always repressed his anger, and it always came out anyway.
Yeah, but was he an appeaser?
He was nice, yeah.
Yeah, too nice.
Yeah.
He never stood up for himself.
That's true. He didn't stand up for himself against his father,
Yeah.
who was a bully.
And how about with his wife?
They're probably the same thing. She was real outspoken.
Well, that is, see, he's giving his energy to the woman. It's strange, because I have told you in my own experience when I was 7 or 8 years old, Arnold, you heard me take that name. He was just a year older than me, and he said something was cruel. And this is new to me because I hadn't had that experience before. But what came with it was like a rock in my solar plexus. And all I did was, that's strange. And I can remember it just like this. That's strange. How can just words, and it was more than words, it was the energy with it, see? Energy kind of goes that way. How is it? Oh, well, I'll let it go. Letting it go was one thing after another to this day. Let it go. Don't let it touch you. If you don't understand it, let it go. Watch the emotion. Watch the feeling. Because that's part of being resentful towards the person. If you're not resentful, irritable, or resentful towards the person that says it, the energy that creates that lump in my will no longer affect me.
I saw that yesterday. My wife and I were in our backyard trying to decide where to put some feature in the backyard, and she wanted me to do a certain thing, and there was an anger in me to resist what she wanted to do.
I think you better put her in a home and let them kill each other.
Yeah. But I'm talking about my wife now.
He's talking about me.
Oh.
But I was surprised. Where did that anger come from? Why was I so resistant to her idea, which wasn't a bad idea?
Could you say that again about resistant?
We were trying to decide where to put this feature, so I had made a model, and I was moving it around the yard.
What is this speeches?
It's just a planter.
It's landscaping.
Landscaping. So I'm moving it around the yard in different places that I thought of, and she came up with a place I hadn't thought of. And there was a resistance in me to what she came up with, and I saw there was an anger in that. And she said she insisted
and in you,
in me.
and so you felt something.
Somehow I felt
Yeah,
something.
but that's not healthy.
Yeah,
You should feel nothing.
I know. But it was there. I remember seeing
I
it.
know, but you either are able to do, you either do nothing, feel nothing, and on the other hand, if you need to to express something, you need to say quietly, "Excuse me, I think it's better here. Maybe you'd like to do it yourself and let it go. In other words, you've got to respond in a proper way. Either nothing, not nothing, you don't feel anything. But there's a sense also whereby you should speak up in a special way, and then you'll finish with it, and then she gets pissed off, excuse the expression, and let her be pissed off, and you go about your business. And then you robbed her, and she then, having robbed her of your life, she'll get angry, and then die quicker, and good riddance to bad rubbish. Do you understand that?
Yeah. There must be something in me that's afraid of taking the right stand at the right moment.
Too responsible.
Too responsible. And there's an anger in there, because the anger has always been my protection against something I don't consider reasonable.
It's not a protection.
I know it's not.
It is your downfall.
Yes. It will kill me.
No, you have to, just to give a little focus.
Yeah.
And stay away from those people and don't do anything for them unless you know how to deal with them and their beliefs and what they think that you should do for them or whatever it is you said.
Because if you do anything for somebody like that, it's never enough.
You do not want to do anything for that person. Let them die.
Yeah.
Let your mother-in-law die. Otherwise, you're going to keep her alive with your life. And that's how she lives.
That's what I suspect is happening.
And I can sense this is not good for you.
No.
Her mother is not good for you.
No.
Somehow you survived it. You had a little cancer, didn't you?
I did. I actually had
And
cancer
it went
10
away.
years ago, and it went away.
It went away because you
Yes.
stopped reacting to
Yes.
it. And sees that she can't help herself, but you can. That's important.
Yes.
If you can see she can't,
I can see that now.
huh?
I can see that she can't help herself.
It's too. Can you speak a little louder? In the microphone. In the air. I can't. Go ahead.
I can see when I go see her. It's like a movie. I don't know who she is.
She
It's a
isn't your
movie.
mother anymore.
She is not.
And she's not your mother. Good riddance to bad rubbish. I'm sorry. See? Good riddance to bad rubbish.
I agree.
Don't be don't. You see, what you're doing is you're giving her energy. And you've got to be very careful by giving the energy that you don't get.
I know.
The problem. She will live longer as you die.
I can see that.
But she still will die because that's the
Well.
kind of person she is. She'll take it from somebody else. You need to let alone.
Well, I haven't been dealing with her. He's
You are.
kept me away from her for a long time.
Yeah, but
She's gotten into me.
yeah, that's right. He is disturbed
Yes.
in dealing with you.
Oh, exactly. Because
It's
Dealing with her mother in her.
yes.
yeah.
Sorry.
It gets a little tangled, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's
And I'm trying to be very aware of it. I know the dangers, but it doesn't matter.
You can't try.
You can't try.
No.
And part
You
of
can-
what this whole process is that this stuff is floating up in me.
Yes.
And I'm seeing
I
it.
am just talking to you.
I know.
And I'm coming from the place that you know I'm coming from,
Yes.
and that should do it. It's just simple.
Yeah.
Because you're such a decent person in your older age still, and you got to have no pity for anybody.
Okay.
Even if your little kid falls on the ground and cuts his leg open, is bleeding, you do this calmly. You pick him up, you put him in the basin, you wash it off, and the calmness with which you do is healing. Giving him, in other words, where in some places the child would be worse off and has to go to hospital, it's all because oh, mother is, oh, see? She does it in fear and upset, and the child gets upset, and it affects that child forever. That very moment, you have to become perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. You cannot have a feeling for anybody. You don't have a feeling of love. You don't have a feeling of hate. But you have love. If you have a feeling of love, you're playing, looking for love. And you become part of anything. You see? But you mustn't have the feeling of love or the feeling of hate, because the feeling of love comes from the hate, so in compensating for your anger. Because always anger, when you have anger and resentment towards anybody, and that person becomes a bully, even though you may not call it that, and then because you have reacted and had a feeling of something towards that person, anger or guilt, and if it's guilt, you will feel like you've done something wrong to the person rather than having done something wrong to you, so you feel that way. And so as a decent person, as a very decent person trying to be decent, what you're doing is saying to yourself, well, maybe I feel guilty. There's a little guilt, and maybe if I'd be nicer to him and love him more, and let it go and see if I can help him, all that comes, and it will go over and over and over until you don't even know you're doing it and dying. Yes, sir. Can I see you so I don't break my neck?
Yes, sir.
Come and sit here.
Okay.
I like how you look.
Thank you. I believe that feeling that you're speaking about is sometimes related, maybe more than sometimes related, to feeling sorry for people. We tend to. I know in my life, I went through a period of time where I was in a depression, and I didn't know which way, if I would ever come out of it. But I knew that in my life, I had a choice to make ultimately. So when I saw that, I could cease from feeling sorry for people, because it's weird.
But it's a good feeling for yourself. It means that you love somebody. You feel sorry for them.
Right.
And that sorry for them goes out to them. But it goes out to them as some of your life force.
Yeah, and I was definitely on that path to absorb some kind of cancer or some kind of illness.
Had you had that?
No, I haven't, because I finally came out. I continued to meditate. I didn't quit that, even though...
Can I give you an example? Mm-hmm. If you're in the army and you're fighting a war, and one of your friends gets hit by a bullet and are really dangerously broken.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a soldier helping another soldier with emotion?
It
Couldn't do a thing.
No.
Wouldn't do anything, because
No.
It's not just having falling on your knee or something with your kids.
Right.
What you need is calm.
Yes.
If you're not calm, you can't fix it right.
That's
But
right.
if you are calm, and really calm, it actually helps that person to become better.
It does. It moves them towards that light. And I'm reading a book. I believe there's a movie coming out about Winston Churchill, and there's a book about it, about his life. And it was funny you were talking about cancer and the cancer personality, because I could see that correlated with Hitler. He was a cancer creator.
He sucks on people's life,
Yeah.
and he enjoys the power.
He was a cancer germ, and Halifax and Chamberlain were the wimps who gave and gave
Correct.
and gave.
Correct.
And they felt like they could reason with this evil demon.
But the more they tried, the more they failed. The more they failed, they don't want to fail. They want to try. Until we had a war. It wouldn't have been a war.
No.
If what's the other guy's name? Churchill.
Yeah.
If he was there wouldn't have been a war.
No, because he knew
Nobody would have
he
died.
was going to jump in years before it happened, because
course.
he knew he could not reason with that beast. He was wise. He was in a war, Winston Churchill.
Yeah, he was in the South Africa War.
Yeah.
He was a prisoner then, and escaped. I know the story. Do you understand the magic of not having a feeling for people? It's even good when if you can grow up as a man and you don't have a feeling for anybody because you're whole. You see, the reason why you have a feeling is to think it becomes apparent to another person that you love them. It isn't love.
No, and it doesn't
It
mean,
emboldens them.
yeah, and it doesn't mean that you're walking around like a robot or with nothing.
No.
It's not nothing, but it's not the human feeling. I sense love from you. It's not bland. It's not dry. It's not mechanical, but it's not warmy,
It's something
feely.
you can't explain.
Yeah,
In other words, I'm an ordinary person. And Jesus is an ordinary person. But it's got something extraordinary in him.
yeah,
And that's the first in history that you had a man like that could prove that there's life after death.
right.
We all understood that, and it makes sense, and we can believe in it, and we can actually enjoy understanding the realm that is in us and moving through us like another light from the inside outward towards the world.
Yeah, it's really miraculous.
But you don't even notice it. See, I can talk about it because I'm in the business of helping other people. But I feel nothing. If you get cured by anything, you just get cured.
Yes.
And yes, all you have to say thanks. But you don't have to do anything for me.
Right.
Just let me do it for you. Let me give you what I've got and pass it on. The way you love me and love God is to pass it on.
Right.
Isn't that right?
Yes.
That's all.
When I used to play flag football, and I was pretty good at catching the ball. And I remember once I caught it in the middle of a bunch of people, and I made a touchdown, and the whole team was like, "Yeah!" And I was sitting there,
And you
what's
couldn't
going
do
on?
that again.
No, I didn't partake. I thought that was kind of odd. Like, what's the big deal? We were just playing a game.
Yeah, and all that takes energy away from people.
Yeah. Well, it emboldens pride, which robs you from the actual source.
Yes,
Yeah.
And the players can be badly affected by that in their own lives.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a man, his name was William something, and he was very funny and very...
Robin
charming.
Williams?
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you look behind the happiness and the funny things he says, you would think he's to be a happy man, wouldn't you? Because he makes so many jokes, he makes people happy, he makes them laugh. And what is all that? I don't like to watch things like that. I like natural fun. There's a natural fun.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no harm.
spontaneous.
But the audience got bigger and bigger, and he had to find a way to pacify the needs of the audience.
Yeah,
And they enjoyed it, but he was giving of himself. See,
Yeah.
And so no matter how much money he had, he became empty and emptier and emptier. So he was on drugs. He was an alcoholic. He had 2, 3 wives, just thinking that maybe that would be the thing. And then the anxiety got so great. He's hating the audience, but you can't see him hating the audience. He's trying. He has to try to please the audience with love.
right.
There isn't love at all.
No.
It's giving of his life.
Yeah.
And he feels empty, so empty. And so the emptiness has a name for it. I wish I could find it. I don't want to lose it because it's what is it when you want to kill yourself when you have so much emptiness?
Suicide?
There's a name for it.
Depression?
No. I wish I could find the word. And I don't expect you to help me with this because it's so obvious. It's anxiety. That's the word, anxiety.
Oh.
And anxiety is a horrible emptiness. And the more you try to fulfill it with a person like I just said,
Yeah.
he was able to fill the emptiness of people,
Right.
but he has to empty himself into the people.
Yeah, when he's alone by himself.
Yes, and the more he got better at it,
Yeah.
and everybody loved more. And the more they loved, the more he had to give. And afterward, he had no more to give, and then he begins to hate. And then he did it then he functioned with hate.
Yeah.
And he drank, and he's able to manage squeezing more. And he didn't have the courage to say, look, ladies and gentlemen, this is my situation. I'm trying to please you. I can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. Would you mind letting me out of this? Thank you very much. I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
He couldn't stop.
No.
He had to get something from the audience. He has to give something to get it, and he wasn't. He was losing.
It was a horrible addiction. That anxiety you speak of, that's really fascinating because if the medical community or, the world, if they could understand that one thing, that anxiety is,
it's a distance from God.
It's a good thing. It's not something to be filled with a pill. The doctors are filling it, and they're robbing the salvation of people by filling it with pills, and it's a horrible, horrible thing.
They better living through chemistry. Yeah, that's it. Better living through chemistry. And if you lived to 80 or 90, I don't know what kind of person you'd be.
I was raised.
I can't explain
who cares? I mean, it's not how long you live; it's how well you live. It's how good.
The thief on the cross. Only he was dying. The bad one is a good one, and the bad one sneered, and the good one says, "How can you do this? We deserve it." That's all it takes. And Jesus says something sweet. He says, "In this day you shall be in paradise with me." And his whole life was wrong.
Yep.
That's how much justice there is in our Creator. So don't worry. Just begin. And learn what it means to begin is to be still. And Scripture is there. I've never met a person that ever understood, be still and know. Because you have a different knowledge when you're still. When you close your eyes, I've seen the pictures, beautiful pictures of artists, and they're having people with hands and their eyes looking upwards. I often would say, why is that? Why are they looking up like that? What they're doing is looking at their eyelids. They can't explain all that. They've discovered it, but they can't express it to other people. That it's as though they had something that nobody else has, which was true, but they couldn't explain it.
Right. I feel like
I explained
I
it.
know. I feel like it took another Jew to come to bring to life again what Jesus.
I might be in that role, who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure. I would like to be in that role. I would like to have as many people as possible, especially in America. Because America is a good place. It was. It isn't anymore.
No, it's horribly corrupt.
It's a sick place.
Yeah.
And good people are hated. Donald Trump has a big piece of what I have.
Yeah.
A big piece.
Yeah. It's amazing how that cancer, that demonic cancer-causing personality will, when you don't feed it and are calm, it will accuse you of what it is.
That's
and
right.
it is the most bizarre
But there's
thing.
also, I haven't used the words before, so you might help me with the words. But you have, I can't find the words, you see, language, technical language, and even physics language is disappearing. What is left with me is just seeing clearly and using this basic English, which is 800 words. But you do have a system, and there's a name for it. I haven't got the name for it, but you might be able to help me. You have a system which will cause everything to get better, and it has an energy field.
Regeneration?
Well, yes, the regeneration is the outcome. It regenerates.
Are you talking about the immune system? The immune system?
Immune system. And that's the name for it. It's an immune system. And that immune system does magic.
Yeah.
And it will keep you alive. It will, anything, drugs, any kind of sickness or disease, which you can catch or not, whatever system, everything will come back to normal. But you have to have all those little things in there that know how to eat the bad germs.
Right.
But when you run down, what was it called again?
Immune system.
Immunity system. If you have a king on a throne, and you're very powerful, and so much powerful that the people begin to want to hate you, and he sends his soldiers out. It depends on how strong the system is. They can take everybody who has the same immune systems, but they have more power. And so therefore the immune systems collapse, and they start to die, and they become afraid, and they give in, and then you have what you call tyranny.
Yeah.
See, like Hitler. He gives,
Right.
you're giving your energy and your life to that person, and as long as he loves the worst in you, and you get worse, and you do to others what was done to other people, so they get worse and love you for loving the worst in you.
Yeah.
It goes down, always down. And so when the soldiers become angry murderers because their life is being taken, and so they look at England in my day, and they look at England, and we're nice people. We don't want to argue. We don't want to fight, but we should.
Yeah.
You see, but we had a what was the name of the person we were talking about? Not Churchill.
Neville Chamberlain.
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 Yeah.
Is it Chamberlain?
Yeah, Chamberlain in Halifax
Yeah.
was one.
And he
to
gave in.
Appeasers.
He gave in.
Yeah.
And he gave in and emboldened. And pretty soon Hitler overcome the whole of Germany, but every one of them are hungry to kill the innocent.
Yeah.
Hungry. The innocent see the enemy.
Yeah.
It upsets them to see that. So they actually saw England as evil and Hitler as glory.
Yeah.
It's the same principle of the immune system.
Yes.
And the immune system, the people who give in are giving power.
Right, right.
See?
And those cancer-causing people actually see you as they see you in a different light, not a light of reality. They
That's
see
correct.
you as evil. Yeah.
You know, thank you. I recently went back east to see my sisters. One of them, well, the one that I stayed with had
And
cancer.
are you awake?
I beg your pardon?
My wife is sitting there. She's fast asleep.
Keep me up watching these late movies.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I stayed with my sister. She had been diagnosed with cancer a while back, but she's in remission now.
Everybody, half the country in America will die from cancer.
And, you know, she was doing the same things that Fabian was talking about. She would think that when I said something, I meant something else. So she would respond to as if I meant something that I really didn't mean. And it was like she could see it. She saw
I
it in
get
a
it.
twisted way,
That's right.
you know, and it was,
She doesn't hear you. She's only
no.
hearing herself.
yes. She was hearing something
And it's
in
confusing.
her. Yes.
Well, how do you deal with it?
Well, that was my problem. I kept saying, okay,
No,
I
it's
got to
not
go
your problem.
upstairs.
You make sure it's their problem.
Okay.
What you need is some balls. Excuse the expression.
Yeah, well, I did remove myself from the situation. I mean, I
No,
didn't
you
flap her
don't-
around or
you don't
anything. I mean,
necessarily
I
have
guess
to
I should
remove.
have said something.
While you're there, you say, excuse me, get away from me.
Yeah.
You're just playing with me. You don't see it, I know. Or you don't realize that you are projecting something ugly on me. So stay away from me. That's what you need. You need them to react to you, and you walk away smiling.
Yep.
But smiling not because you won something, it's because you have this. For everything bad happens for good, for those that love the Lord. Bad things are good for you. If you deal with them properly, you prove that you are worthy to enter the kingdom of eternal life. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's the bad things. It's the little things that confound the mighty. The little things that confound. The little things is what we're talking about. Calm. But where do you get calm from? By sitting still, like the pictures that are painted with the eyes closed, and looking at the eyelids and the thoughts that come up immediately go down and disappear, and may come back and disappear. You never get frustrated. It just comes up. And the more you understand how let me give you how it works. Your brain is a monkey brain. It's a monkey brain. It's equivalent to a monkey brain because it's that brain does everything in the body that you need. It regulates everything. Also, it can be regulated from the outside, which you don't want. You want it to be regulated from the inside. And the minute you start reacting to the outside, you start to die. Your immune system begins to wither. And instead of eating the various, various germs, they know how to eat any germ. You're hungry, 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 and it's all gone. But as you start to drink too much, drug too much, glorify yourself too much. All the things that we've been talking about, which makes you think it's you that's doing the right thing, when you don't know what right thing is. The right thing takes love, and there's no love in the world. And the day you came into the world, remember I say, you had what you need, and you still has it. You all still have that. You have intuition, and with that intuition, you see me. That's all you're seeing, me, because you have it. You have it. You all have it. All you're seeing is me in you, and you in me. Except I'm more advanced in that. And it takes time. When I say advanced, I don't want to lord it over you. I just want to say I've done it for almost 90 years, since I was a baby, since I was a little kid. I didn't know what I had. I had a good father. That makes a difference. I had a good start. I wouldn't listen to the teachers. I see the teachers as the walking dead. I honestly did. They looked like the walking dead. I can remember one of them, I could hear his bad, smell his bad breath from the other side of the class.
Yeah, pretty bad.
That's how demoralized they are.
There is a case where the immune system works really well and it attacks its own cells. My disease is supposedly, my immune system attacked my pancreatic cells and killed them. I've got
I'm not hearing you well.
Okay, my immune system
Yeah.
worked too well at one time, and it killed my pancreatic cells. My T cells attacked my pancreatic cells. According to the type 1 diabetes, that's what happens. It's like your immune system, it's an autoimmune disease. So it's like kind of like lupus is an autoimmune disease. The body attacks itself.
I'm not following that very well. Could you?
Yeah.
I hear you, I know
Okay.
you're saying something. Could you make it easier for me?
Okay. Sometimes the immune system works too well, and it's too aggressive, and it goes after its own body. It attacks its own body.
Oh, that
And
makes sense.
That's what happened with
that
me, I
makes sense.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was reading about it.
I don't understand that yet, but I'm glad you brought it to my attention. I see that that's possible.
Yeah.
And there could be diseases like that.
Lupus is one. Lupus is one of
And
those.
what is the outcome?
I don't know what kills people in lupus. I don't understand it. I don't know enough about the disease.
Oh.
But I do know about type 1, that's all.
Well, you seem to be doing, I've known you for, I think, 30 years.
Yeah.
And you haven't grown old at all.
No, I am still not in the
You
right...
still look good.
Yeah, I'm not where I should be spiritually. I'm a long ways from that. But
It's very interesting because you've had a problem since you were a kid.
Oh, very small. I grew up with, no dad and a crazy grandmother and a mother.
It's
And so
typical.
I was in the battles. I was in the war zone.
I know.
And I've always tried to, my modus of operation.
Let me ask you.
Okay.
How are you doing with your emotions now? Are you making a transfer to being calm?
Yeah, I don't.
But you remember, you can't give yourself calm.
No, I look things, I don't react to things as much as I used to. That's one thing for sure. And I look at each day as a new day that I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing.
I kind
of live from day to day. I don't really
And minute
plan
to
it.
minute.
Yeah, minute to minute.
No, I'll go further than that. It's fraction of a second.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me put it this way. To get it right, it's got to be, see if I can't find the language for it. It's not just it's got to find it in the words. And there was
Intuitive?
no, I'm trying to say something, because we have something called time, and time is essential for existence. If we had no time, and I can explain what time is and I can understand it. If you would sit for a half an hour with me, I would show you that time is powerful. It literally causes pressure. Let me give you an example for this. If you have, I'm going to be metaphysical here. I want you to imagine a lake which is always filled with rain and overflows as a river. That river flows, and that river has energy. As long as it flows into the ocean, which can absorb it. Okay. Now, if you stand in that river, now I want you to think of that as energy flowing from a hot singularity into the cold that retreats and pulls energy with it at a certain speed. That is one string of gravity that will eventually become like a ball of string, and you have 3 dimensions. All right. So now, when gravity flows, a river flows similar. There's always something similar on Earth that can give you an idea of what you can't see otherwise. And so, when the river flows, it has force. And the river is equivalent to the hot, infinitely hot thing that says, let there be light. And it flows, right? The light flows. That's gravity. Well, let's take it with a river and get close to it. See? So I'm coming to a point. And so the river flows, and on each side of the bank, the spin, when it starts to spin, you know how the little spins?
Yeah, the eddies.
Yeah, the little eddies. See, on one side it's this way, and the other side it's different. And they come together like this. Bang. You've got 2 particles, and you've got gravity is pushing it, and it's flowing through the middle of it. You go to my website, I'll show you how it's done. So I put it up there. And so these 2 things push together. They're pushed together. So hard, gravity can go around them and go through them, but slowing down because the pressures of the outside are holding the 2 spinning things together, it turns into electromagnetism, a little energy, a little heat in the middle. And that's the first particle. But the one particle by itself disappears if it doesn't join itself to see. And so if you look at yourself and stand in the river and look behind you, so you've got a wash behind you, and on one side it spins on this one, and the other side of the wave that you leave behind for a few moments, it goes this other way. And they come together, but they disappear because it's not the same. It isn't what but it shows a little bit. At the same time, when these 2 pieces come together, or even just one of them, which doesn't last long unless it finds a mate, see? You can feel the river flowing against you as if you were a little tiny piece of, and push you.
Yeah.
It pushes you along, but it also pushes past you. It goes faster. You have resistance to it, and that resistance is gravity. And that gravity is not only gravity, but it's also time. Time and gravity are the same. Now, where I'm going to go with this. But you see, time is the curve around, it's also the pressure on 3 dimensions, but let's go into the river with 1 dimension. So the river is the energy, and it spins, and it creates a particle, and the particle flows, but the river flows faster. And if it gets to be big, then it's put more pressure on it until you have a sun.
Yeah, and you said something that.
But at the same time, if you're on the moon, Or if you're on Jupiter, time is different. Time is slower, and the pressure of gravity goes with it. So that this time is not the same everywhere in the world, because it's connected to pressure
Yes.
and crushing things. And so what you need to do is your spirit cannot live on that. It's only in time that you live, and in time passing, things change, and we die. The sun doesn't die. The sun we have will never die.
I believe
That's what
that.
they don't know.
Yeah.
God didn't make a sun and have a planet like this. It's forever. Just like the universe is forever. We've got one forever place. Not to worry. Don't listen to the stupid scientists. They really don't understand metaphysics. They got good physics, but not metaphysics. And so, coming back to the point, you cannot have your soul having reaction as a child. It disconnects your soul from God and causes it to attach to the brain. And therefore, the soul, which is an agent of God, the soul is an agent of God.
Yeah.
It's stuck, it's involved in the brain, and so that you cannot overcome anything. You have to be still. And I mean still, there's no time. There's no time. Your body feels the time. Your body disintegrates, so to speak, and all the things that happen are all in time. But the magic of it is that the soul is not subject to time. And if you can find a way to disconnect yourself from the brain and give yourself back to God, you live forever.
Yeah, you disconnect from the whirlpool.
It doesn't live in time.
Yeah.
It lives in a realm, a timeless realm.
It's interesting you say that to Tim, because I think he tends to be a bit intellectual into the brain.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
Did you understand that? Make it simple?
Yeah.
Or was I too scientific?
Hey, Roy,
Yeah.
I was sitting here, understanding, and for a moment in this room alone, if nobody was thinking about anything about the fathers, the parents, the problem, not one thought, a timeless place.
You understand that? do you?
Yes, very much. There was a man, I was talking to him about a place, a wordless place. He goes, oh my, I wouldn't be nothing then.
I'm not quite sure what you said.
He said, I would be nothing without words, without thought.
Oh, I see.
And it's just the opposite. But to give up thought willingly,
Giving
like
up
death.
what you think is your thoughts.
yes,
It's not
exactly
your
right.
thoughts.
You're being attacked spiritually because of those thoughts.
If you were in Borneo, you'd be a cannibal. That's
Yeah.
it.
Right.
You could be made to be anything anybody wants to make you.
Right. And so if I'm thinking about other people, which I was obsessed with, in the name of love and caring and being good, is constantly thinking about other people should or shouldn't do, extreme selfishness on my behalf. Because to get that sense of godliness is to think about somebody and you think it's caring, but you're not helping him at all.
No.
In fact, you're giving yourself away. But I'm so good, I'll give myself away because I'm such a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
What a sicko.
But that is
Yes,
sort
it
of
is.
a simile of God. He's
Yes.
giving of himself, but he hasn't got much to give before he crumbles.
Right. But are you really willing? The question of myself is like, of myself I can do nothing. Well, how much is nothing? to come to terms with that I'm nothing before any of this could happen.
It's important.
humility.
It's important to find the nothing.
Yeah, and to pain and failure, you know, and another part of me, as I've noticed, is about the physical strength, muscle. Didn't realize that it was getting in the way of spiritual growth because I was focusing on physical strength instead of the humility and the identity of being what I am because I feel muscle, strong. And the same thing with intellect, a big muscle brain, a muscle body. It all gets in the way.
Exactly so.
It all does. But you feel like you're dying, you're nothing because I am.
Oh dear. I have a bag outside and it isn't my wife. And I beat on it.
Oh. You better be kind.
I like to hit a bag, not my wife.
Yeah.
I take, but it's all good because I don't have a life like I should have it because I'm too busy working, sleeping, working.
Well, I notice
But it's good for you to have a little exercise.
Oh, sure. But I notice even if I lift something up, 'cause
That's for my body.
physical work all the time,
Yeah.
is to look at the pride in it. There's the trouble.
Oh, of course.
And to walk into the room puffed up because I feel puffed up, I'm in trouble.
Yes, that's correct.
Don't mean I don't feel secure. See, it's okay to feel healthy and
That's
strong
all gone now.
without the pride in it.
It's all gone now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going away. It pops a little, but I just really been watching it here lately. and I go,
Yes.
It's not to walk in the room, hey,
Yeah. Having said that, my whole life, my wife has been married 65 years now. She's never seen, I've been around the world, and I was around the world before I met her, of course. But things happened. I was 24 when I got married. And then she begins to see the things I have been doing all along. I could take a whole gang and take it down. Terrified. I can remember simple things. Alan Masters, he likes to play with cars and build. He got a job from the big guy of a gang, the bully of the gang, and he couldn't fix the car. And it was too hard for him. But he was being pressured to fix it or else. And so he comes to Dad. I'm only 150 pounds. So what I do, I get in my car, wait for him to come, and I've got a little trailer thing. I said, are you the chief cook and bottle washer here? Yeah. I said, see that car? Put it on that, what do you call it, trailer, and get out of here. And he did it just like that. No fight. Energy. Yeah.
yeah. that
It's
whole
the same thing with lots of things.
It's been years and years ago, but I didn't know really what happened. I was in a bar back when I was drinking stock like that. Anyway, I got into some mistakes, and then I was trying to get a friend out. And this one guy came up at me, and I just reached up and touched him, and he went down.
No, I'm not quite sure.
He went down. He came at me to.
What point are you making?
Mhm.
Come closer.
Oh, sure.
What point are you making?
Is that force that I didn't realize what was happening, and all through my life at different times it happened, and I didn't even know what had happening. I understand now. It was grace.
Yes.
Right. And I didn't even think about it. Oh, and I didn't think about
I
it.
agree.
And the man came
I didn't know what I had.
And the man came back, and the guy says, about an hour later, and the guy says, that guy's still not straight. What did you do to him? I says, I didn't do anything. I just reached out and touched him.
It sounds kosher.
Yeah, and I've picked up things that I shouldn't pick up, and I don't even think about it. And other people look at me and back up. I wouldn't even think about it.
Well, I didn't understand what you just said.
I've been very, very sick, And in a matter of an hour, I was strong before I was sick, without doing anything. Isometrics. The body will actually, its own isometric exercise without lifting anything.
I'm not quite sure what you're saying. You've got to simplify it.
I was very weak and sick, and when I got over being sick, just a matter of an hour after I got over that, I was as strong as I was before, without doing anything.
I get that.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
Because that's my whole life. Everything went bad. But what didn't go bad was my opportunity to experience everything bad happens for good. You have to understand, no matter what happens, no matter whatever it is, when you're married and you married the wrong person, maybe the wrong person could be the right one if you dealt with it properly. You don't know what's in that person, you see. But the point, yes.
Well, can I say something?
Please do.
Just more confession than question, or just more.
That's fine.
So I've been Charles and Diane's friend for years, and I've recently told them that I see in me something that's like Diane's mom. There's something similar in that personality.
Similar to what?
Similar to Edna, to Diane's mom. I see that in myself.
Oh, I see.
I see
You
that.
see her
I
in
see,
yourself.
yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say that. I don't need to expand on
But
that.
it's good. It's good to say it.
But then another thing I want to say about it's the truth. God already knows. I'm a divided self.
No.
I'm a divided self.
A divided self.
So I come, how do I say? I go home from talks and I suffer.
You go home from talks and you suffer a little bit?
I suffer.
Yes.
The darkness in me suffers.
Oh, that's correct.
The darkness in me suffers.
That's it, it's not you.
But how can I say that even though I know without a shadow of a doubt that what comes through you is true and real. So I wish I could be on one side of the fence.
Yeah, but you have to be patient. Remember I said, you see, your life is full of irritations and cruelties. Yeah, but remember this.
I just wish I could be one girl.
I know, but look, you can't take this to heart like this. You need to see all your suffering, all the pain you have, all the anxiety you have.
It's all resentment.
It's all from one thing. Everything was one thing, and with different shapes and sizes, you know, and outcomes. And
I can't, as you said, I can't. Nobody's good.
Look, see, I know you're crying now. It's all right. Look. But
I just wish I could be.
You know what you're doing. You're struggling inside right now. You're struggling, and you're wishing. You don't have to wish. God knows what you need before you ask. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to be for yourself. Drop the self-righteousness. Okay?
Yes.
The self-righteousness.
Yeah. Just be the idiot I am. Just be the idiot I am.
1, 2, 3, stop.
Okay. Okay.
You feel better now, don't you? You don't have to be that way.
I just want to get it out.
Yes, sir.
Which force is talking through her right now? Is it the dark force or the light force?
You can ask her. Which?
When I'm talking right now,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know I'm being as open as I know how to be.
That's fine.
That's it.
That's fine, but just once is enough.
Okay,
Not too many times.
okay.
Because what I'm trying to get you to do is what I said in scientific terms. Your soul, when you meditate with sincerity, and you don't really know what I'm doing, but I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
And so therefore, when I say close your eyes, look at the little sparkles, whatever they are, and thoughts that may come up and bother you, and just watch it. It wants you to it's almost like it's happening again inside your head, and you get angry with it inside your head. Because it makes you strong. It makes you think you're strong. But so the person inside you, or the people inside you, they build up. And so every time you get upset, they get inside you, and this other one gets inside you.
Well, I can sit there with something that he said is sometimes, not every day, of course, I'll just make it a practice to notice every time a thought of
Come over here.
person comes in.
Oh, damn. Did I hear that?
You mean just,
Bo. How are you doing? All right.
you know,
Did you feel anything?
no, I have had experience with you once,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
good.
didn't feel anything.
That's good. All right. I don't know if I can answer your question, but whatever it is, it's the same as what you got. Everybody has the same reaction, but different behaviors. You can produce any behavior you want. I could make you stand on your head forever.
What does that mean? You can produce any behavior
In other
you
words,
want.
having knowledge, which I despise now, put aside, but I'm glad I went through it. Let me see this. Have you ever fallen in love?
A long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, but you fell.
Right.
But that's not love.
No.
You just died. See?
Feels good.
You want something from somebody, so you fall in love to have that you don't have. And then they take more away than you had before. You lose more. When you fall in love, you fall from something. You can't fall from nothing.
I see what you mean. You mean produce something from our ego rather than do nothing.
What is that being still is the secret source. It's a secret source, and I like that word because it has several meanings. And the soul is damaged by its connection to the brain, because the world around it causes it to function as the world wants you to be, and you have conflict. And if you don't understand what all this is about, it has to do with time. The soul exists without time. And the soul will become who you are. If the soul loves God, doesn't hate him for the suffering he's going, and don't get angry because the suffering that you're going, and then trying to be good when you don't know what good is. You got nothing of myself. I can do nothing. Jesus said it, but in the scripture it says, become perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. So you got the idiots, preachers out there, they get shocked, they don't know what to say. No, you can't be perfect. But you can. a little bit at a time. But in order to do that one little bit, you have to disconnect. You let me help you to understand this. It's so simple. That's why the 7-minute meditation is very, for certain people, not for everybody. But lots of people say 50%. Without knowing what they're doing, I am leading them, their soul, which is not subject to time and space. If it is subject to time and space, it will be shaped by time and space, and people and places and things. And all of that will kill you in the end. And it's sort of normal. Nearly everybody dies of something. They just don't go to sleep. Noble. I don't know how I'm going to die. It's coming. I'm not afraid. But what I'm trying to say, I'm the sum total of every little thing that has become something that is not a thing. Can you see what I said? I can't find a word for it. It's a thing. It's disconnected from the brain, not subject to the world around, but subject to Him that gave you the awareness. He gave you this awareness. That's what it's another word for it. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Because then, once you have seen this, once you have suffered and suffered and suffered and angered and suffered and got worse and suffered, Jesus makes it clear. Everything bad, use the bad to make you strong. When you have a surfboard, use the surfboard until you can to go down a 50-foot wave. Just keep, it's good for you.
Okay.
You don't get there all of a sudden. The soul only does one thing. Of myself I can do nothing. And so if you want a judgment, let me just talk to judgment with respect to this whole thing that I've been saying. I told you once before, I think, if I'm correct, it was the first time I noticed it, which was like 30 years ago. A man had come to my seminar 10 years before, and he got pissed off, excuse the expression, and got angry with me, and 10 years went by, and then one day he came to the seminar, and he came up to me and said, "I'm sorry, but I resent you. I've been resenting you all these years. It's not done me any good." I said, "What happened?" She says, "Well, you didn't recognize me." I said, "I'm not in the business of recognizing you. I'm in the business of you recognizing me." See? See? Yeah, and so he said, "Anyway, can you forgive me?" And he says, "I've been resenting him." I said, "No." He said, "What do you mean? You're a minister. Why can't you forgive me?" I said, "I didn't judge you." Look how subtle this is. I didn't judge you. Because I don't have to forgive him if I didn't judge him. I already let it go. I didn't judge you. So why do I have to forgive you? In other words, if you don't judge, which is not good, that's like God. Judgment is mine, saith the Lord. I pay back. That's right there. So I understood that. And that moment enabled me to wake up to see another angle to it. Because if you don't judge, you don't have to forgive, do you? I can't forgive you for what other people did to you. But this is simply just between me and you. So if you don't judge, you don't have to forgive. Everything's cool. Everything stays as it should be, but not broken. Then when you get judgment, bang, you're playing God. You don't want to play, you never want to be, once is enough.
Yep. Those thoughts that the darkness is, it dangles thoughts of good and evil. It's
all over.
Evil is it's like the brain. You said the soul is damaged by the brain. It's a sinister.
No, it's not damaged. It's enslaved.
Yes, it's enslaved.
It's still alive.
Yeah,
but it's torment. It creates a torment.
Mm-hmm. And the thoughts are thoughts could be saying they could be saying the true thing, but they're not coming from the right place.
No, we understand that. But what I'm saying, and then we can finish our program here, if you like. The soul is timeless. And so when God says, be still, or be still, what's the rest of it?
And know that I am God.
And know that I am God, yes. Now, that is so clear if you can look at it with your spiritual heart. Because the soul recognizes that. And all the soul needs is to sit quietly, be still, but in that stillness, there is no time. You have to come back. In other words, if you close your eyes and look at your eyelids, it means that there's light coming through you, otherwise you couldn't see the pixels. Mm-hmm. See, you're looking at them as something. And that does something by itself almost immediately. And with the fingers, it has to do with the body. Yeah. But right in the beginning, just doing that, and especially with the 7-minute meditation, and especially if I did it with you, you can understand it better now, because I don't explain it too much in the 7-minute meditation. It just you don't need to know all that yet. If you follow the instructions, bang, all of a sudden you wake up, and everything looks different. And so you've got to keep that state.
Right.
So you do that meditation a few times, and maybe in the morning, maybe in the evening, just 7 minutes. And pretty soon you don't need the meditation anymore. You can sit down and quietly do it and know what needs to be done. You're disconnecting it from the brain and reconnecting it to the Father, the good Father, not the wicked one. And now, he will, from that point on, he will show you the problems. He will take away the emotions, because you do not live. If you were Adam and he lived, his motivation would not be emotion.
No.
Only when he got thrown out of the garden, he became an animal in conflict with its human. See that?
Yes.
Okay. So when it happens, you're free. You shall know the truth, and it will set you free. Have a good day.
Thank you.